So what would occur in February 1994? We're sort of doing an inventory of the antiques here at our house in Blockhouse, and with the help of Earl and Judy Rodenizer, we'll try to identify where most of these things came from and maybe give a rough idea of what the value of them is. Uh, One of the things that's kind of interesting, just to start with, is this big loom carpet here on the floor, which came out of a house that was being torn down in First South. And Ronnie got that. And we laid it over the top of another one, which is another Lunenburg County loom carpet that's underneath, which is probably in slightly better condition, but it's not as an interesting one as this. And I suppose that the value of the two often would be probably $650 or something like that. We're just going to go through these things that are over here, I guess. Do you want to focus in on the chip car brides box down on the floor? All of these bride boxes are from Lunenburg County, and we have every reason to believe that they were made by the Micmacs to be sold probably in the middle of the 19th century. And they come in various forms. Generally, they're carved on top, but they're not. And the value of them, I suppose, is anywhere from probably $1,000 to about $1,500 a piece, depending on the various condition and whatever. This desk is in several books about the Nova Scotia antiques, with its history of belonging to a captain in St. Margaret's Bay, and I don't recall his name right offhand, but that's probably worth $2,500, perhaps more in an auction. Many of our prices will probably be fairly conservative. And this candle stand came from Bridgetown. That I think it was in an auction in Bridgetown, and Jack Rosenthal bought it. Legendary Jack. This marker, which has some initials and some Roman numerals on the top of it here, SL, is probably one of the earliest things we have. It came, I believe, Clarence Allenbeck got it in a yard sale in Bridgewater, but my guess is it may have come from Lunenburg originally, and I'm sure it's an 18th century, maybe a boundary marker, who knows, but definitely with the initials on it indicating something specific and a specific person. Silas Langell, was he a bell maker here? I think he was in Northwest. I just wonder whether, well, that's a possibility it had anything to do with him with those initials. But I guess he was later. He was in the, probably around the turn of the century. So it would be, that rug is a local rug. I don't remember exactly where it came from. Whether we bought it from you.
Did you say price of the marker?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a very difficult thing to evaluate. I would say $500 probably. And the candle stand, probably $1,000, give or take. And here we have a puppet head by Quitter Johnson, which was in the Spirit of Nova Scotia show. And this probably was about $2,500. I saw one in auction that wasn't as good as this, but by the same man, the year ago, went to $1,800. And this is one of the carvings by Lloyd Kinsmith, who lived up in Canaan in Kings County. And he's dead now. It's beautifully intricate. Say that's probably worth about $400. And where were you saying the frame was done? There were petite. There were two of those, weren't there? Yeah. The other one was smaller. I remember what happened. I sold to Bobby Gibson. That's right. He sold some. Really? Yeah. And the mat, I believe, came from Chester, as I remember. That's inside it. So the frame is probably worth, what, $800, and the mat maybe $300. Something like that.
again, I suspect I'm being conservative in my prices. This is definitely a piece by Eli Frock,
which has the dog's head here on this side and a eagle's head with a snake around it on the other side, a little dog's head here with some chip carving on the ears, and that came from what's that road that goes from Middlewood down to the shore there?
Crowstown,
No, I'm not thinking of that. You know,
Robles Cove.
yeah, the road halfway down there. There are a couple old houses.
Oh, yeah.
Came out of one of those houses there, and then the guy who sold it to me as having been made by Eli Cross. There's no question about it. And that's probably worth a couple $1,000, I would think, not more. This plant stand's worth a lot. We bought that from Earl for $2,000, as I remember. Wasn't that the price? That's it, was it? Yeah. Yeah, where did that come from? Riverport. Yeah. It's got a fancy cutout on the back there. It's a little difficult to see. And this bright box actually came from collectors in Wolfville. I probably got it Pauline years ago. I paid $1,300 or $1,400 for that. Or $1,500, I guess. I think I got Fred to offer them $1,300, and I had paid him $200 for it. So it was quite a bit, given the condition of it. But I get bloody fine.
This is this one down here. You said came from Indian Point. Indian Point. Yeah. Okay.
Don't remember where I got that one down there, but it doesn't matter. It's got some hearts on top of it also. So I already gave some kind of a rough evaluation of those. This table, which is undoubtedly made by one of the Mahone Bay cabinet makers, and
Be interesting to get some research on all the people that made this type of furniture that worked in Mahone Bay.
that came from the house that Bill Murphy now owns down at the bottom of the hill where Bob Zoyer lived. And anyway, that's where that came from. I suppose that's worth about $1,500. This is another Lloyd Kinsman, somewhat better piece than the other one, I think. And I'd say that's probably worth about $600. And we have a couple inlaid swifts here. They're very fancy with the heart and the American shield, the name of the maker on one of them. You can see the details of this at all. Build an idea. I suppose the two and a part of another one, they would be worth about $1,500 for the three pieces. Here's this little carving by Harry Weil, probably worth about $200. And this one is by Ronald Strum down in Mahone Bay. It was his first carving. It's like the ears are made out of bubble gum or something, and probably worth $100. And those two ones in the other window over there are anonymous Lunenburg County carvings. Don't know a lot about them, and they're probably worth $50 for the two of them. And then this whirligig, which is interesting because it has a black man here on this side too, came from Bob Getson. And he certainly picked it up here somewhere in the county because we got a photograph of myself. It was in a newspaper article, probably taken 17 years ago or so, that shows me with another piece by the same maker, which I undoubtedly picked up here locally somewhere. And that's worth probably $1,000. This is by Zenith Publicover, who was from we're at the Dublin shore, West Dublin, yeah. And didn't you say that Wayne Seelig bought this at a yard sale?
Yeah.
$5.
It's true.
Goodness feet. So
So cheap.
yeah, we paid $1,100 for that, as I remember. This is quite an interesting knife here, with a carved wooden sheath and a deer antler handle. It came from up in the Barces Corner, a little auction up there, and I bought that from Clarence.
Because it got initials on it?
Yeah. I said that's worth about $250. BM. I'd be interested in anything like that if you guys run across it. That's identified. That make it more interesting. This little carving here is probably a little difficult to see. It says October 3rd, 1935, B. And Clarence got that at a yard sale, and he said that it wasn't done by a man who was in the hospital time when he did it. It's very elaborately painted all over. I suppose that's worth maybe $800 for a very little item. This blanket chest is from Mahone Bay area, originally anyway, and we paid $1,200 for that just recently. This is little mat came from a Morton house up in Wyford. Yeah, it's probably made by a child, sort of practice mat, I would think. It's certainly very childlike in conception with a figure there. It's worth a couple $100. Was covered came from the Johnson estate, which we auctioned out at Pictou, and he was a collector. I don't remember his first name, but he was a really serious collector for his day and picked up all kinds of stuff around. And one would assume it's definitely a Scottish influence. That it's probably his Pictou County piece. It could be a Bossomanic County also. Little heart cutouts there on the side. All these old prints with little painted decorations. And I actually bought this at Sotheby's in Toronto. Having missed getting it from the family directly. There's very fancy cutouts here on the inside of it with hearts and all kinds of fretwork and some old wallpaper. Old newspaper being there. There's a date there, 1843. So that's interesting. Then it would probably be somewhere contemporary with this. In other words, it's likely that the cupboard is at least as old as that piece of newspaper, and perhaps older. And that's probably worth about $4,000, I suppose. Difficult piece to put a value on. This is an unfinished whirligig that was made back. Here comes Abe. That's all right, yeah. That's going down the other house.
We'll shove the belt up before we take it.
Yeah. Now this was made by Leo Morton, who lived in on the road from Barces Corner to Wadford. Of course, he was actually in the town of the Barces Corner, and it was in his workshop. He never finished it. I put it on this base, but that's worth a couple $1,000, I would say. And here we have a bouquet of decoys by Mason Young. I bought out on Little Tampa Island years ago.
Do you want to hold them over here because it's during the light? I got a backlight. Okay. Yeah, you took
Tail anyway.
Okay.
And they're probably worth about $1,000 a piece. There's a pair down here we bought last summer from the Houston North Gallery that came from the Chester area. And they're quite rude, and we paid $500 for those. This is the pair down here that we believe are Lunenburg County. We have no absolute proof of it. But, and they have initials on the bottom. In fact, it's ZR. Zenas Rodenizer. And those are probably worth probably $800 for the two of them. This little piece of furniture is kind of rude. It's been cut here on the top, but it's a nice display piece, and I suppose that's worth about $300. This little rack here with the caribou horns came here in Lunenburg County and pet for years, so I don't remember exactly where I got it. I'd say it's worth about $300. Then we have a lot of powder horns here. They're all scrimshawed. Some of them are Newfoundland and some of them are Nova Scotian.
They're all really quite desirable, and I think probably the best way to evaluate those would be on a separate list, which we should really update. But just on the average, I sold three of them last summer, which went all for around $500 a piece, and there were ones that were not necessarily as good as some of these. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 good ones, 8 good ones, and then some lesser ones. So I think if one said that they were all worth $4,000, they would one would be somewhere in the ballpark. This chair is typical of Long Bay decoration. Where did this one come from? We got it at the same time that we bought that stand.
Oh, didn't it come from Road Point?
Same house, did it? Oh, that's interesting. It may have been made by the same person. So it looks like the same decoration, and that'd be $500 somewhere around there for that. This is a little chair by attributed to Dummy Noss, who lives right nearby here in Sweetland. Oh, it's interesting, Scotty. One of the stretchers there along the bottom's cut out of it. I never noticed that before. And that's worth about $300, I suppose. These two decoys here, this working decoy was made by Gilbert Rayfuse from Custer Mason. Yeah, Custer Mason. It came from Jerry Ferguson's collection, and that's worth about probably $850. And this is the decorative bird he made, and I think this is worth about the same. That came from Johnny. He had that for a long time. Somebody sold one day to Barry Wenzel. This pair of Lindsay Levy decoys that I bought out on the Tamcook Island, and I'd say they're probably worth $2,500 for a pair. It's by Stain Soller and Bob Earl. David Wooden did an excellent job of repairing the bill, I believe. Wolves repair for us. I guess that one with the repaired bill is probably worth about $750. Not the way you name them, is it? Good. We do this candle stand. We'll start with this another one of these decorated chip carved boxes, which we believe are Indian made. Pick all the ones with the brass wire. One assumes are. I've had several others. I've had the bottom of the same decoration. Like I sold it to Clarence once. The top was gone. This one came from Newbern, an old house that goes on the Walden Road there. And the candle stand, you said, came from Oakland. And that was the Mahone Bay influence again. Let's see, this one again would be set on the average of $1,000, $1,500 for those. And this would be, we paid you $1,000 for it. So that was a few years back, so probably $1,500 for that. These carvings are by John Longard, who lived St. Margaret's Bay, and only made, I think, a few carvings. We had another head and a munchie that he made. And they're in a pair of chairs attributed to Dummy Noss. I suppose Dummy Noss's father was probably also a chair maker. You know, and he may have been the one who really originated that style of chair. And like there was obviously more than one generation of Youngs who made chairs. And you know, we say Johnny Young and Dummy Noss, but who knows who really made them all. But those came from Gary Wenzel by way of Buggy Seeler can pick up in the county here somewhere. And carvings, I say, would be worth probably about $3,500. And the chairs, the fair chairs, probably about $700. And this little stool came from David Beck, who got it over in Clearland years ago. There's a little piece off here. The other side is good, and it's probably worth about $400. This shelf, where did this come from?
Chester Basin.
Chester Basin.
I don't remember exactly who bought it fairly recently. It's about $450, some kind of cut. The Cloverwork Mox here was a fine swastika on it. It came from up in the Northfield. And that's probably worth $250 in that condition. This little box came from the Fort Hawkesbury area. It was made by the same person who made the inlaid swifts over there, and it's elaborately inlaid with a house,
Okay.
house and a basket of flowers on the top there, or another basket of flowers there. I'd say that's worth about $1,500 a difficult piece to evaluate. This is a Stiegel model that came from Bob Gesson. I'd be interested to know where he got that from. That's worth about $400. This is another little Micmac box that came from Muriel Winsel's house up in Maplewood, but where she got it, I know it wasn't in her house, but she got it around the Maplewood area somewhere, and it's all decorated red and black, and may have come from Mahone Bay originally. Similar to the one decoration, the one we sold at Isles auction, which was a little bone pop box last summer. Well, very early little piece of poison A. It came from Roddenizers, probably worth 100, and it's still east here. I think you guys had that. I got that from Mediterranean. Yeah, I think we have. Oh, maybe not. But anyway, that's worth about $75 probably. A miniature basket here. A few dollars. This little piece of glass here is damaged. Cracked. Not worth much. So there we are, and then we have all these spruce gum boxes, of which we believe the 6 on this end all came from Lunenburg County. This one came from Wildville, and we're all picked up other ones around here in the county, and we know that the same maker made some of them. There are probably 3 different makers involved in these here, and they were probably worth $800 to $1,500 a piece, depending on which one. And the crooked knives, I don't know that there's too much reason to go through all of them individually. What do you think about that, Charlotte? You stopped it. But this collection of crooked knives, which now numbers 29, and it would be almost impossible to show them all individually, other than just to make some references. For example, this one, which I happen to pick up, has a basket of flowers that comes completely around the handle with a bird sitting on a spade or on the top of it anyway, and it's chip carved all along the side. And based on the prices of the ones we sold at Ann Zalman's auction, this is probably better or as good as anything they had, and it's not even one of the absolutely best ones we have. But it's probably worth, I would say, $850, something like that. Here's another one here that just has the furrow, just very simple geometric carvings on it with 3 stars on the end, and that's probably worth about $500. So as you go across and look at this whole collection, you can see that there are, some really exceptional examples. There's one here with the bear, which it'd be by Eli Kropp, with a snake around his neck, which I bought from John Marshall in Halifax, it's probably 10 years ago, and paid $1,200 for it. So it's probably worth twice that today. And there's some others that are maybe approaching that kind of value. But almost all these in this case would be worth, the cheapest ones would be worth $500, and they would go up to over $1,000. And you would agree with that, wouldn't you, Earl? Yeah. You can see that they're all here. That's the last one that we bought. We actually bought from you guys for $300. And so that sort of below would be the low value. A few of these contemporary ones, like that one by Wilfred Bent, that is no longer living now, could be worth only a few $100s. It's interesting, there's one in Ann Zalman's by Carlton Dagley, a hand one. We couldn't try twice to sell it. We couldn't get the $150, even with a homemade sheath. Couldn't get that to open it, so it was one of the few things that got passed. So anyway, there's that collection. We can make a list of the valuations of all those. We probably have one that should be updated But it's obviously a very substantial collection of crooked knives and worth a lot of money. The little case came from Lunenburg County. I bought that from Carl Conrad years ago. I think I paid him $25 for it. My guess is what you get perhaps $400 or $500 for it today. Another little Indian box that was came from Eva Albeck's mother's house down the road here, and when I bought it from Eva's mother, she said an old Indian down in Mahone Bay made that, and that was certainly some evidence for what we had believed even before she told me that these boxes were made by the Indians, even though this one's not chip card. It's interesting, there's one over in Angie's that's almost identical, except it's a sort of a red-brown paint. It's not nearly as pretty, but this little table here came from Bruce McNutt. It's got a little chip carving around it there. And I'd say that box is probably worth about $600. This little table came from Greenfield, and it's not an overly distinguished table, but it functions very well there. That's where he thought he got it, and it's probably worth about $250. This little carving here came from John Marshall in Pictou County, and it does have a little piece of wood missing right on the corner there. It's dated 1913. I might say that's worth about $500. And this game board you said came from Bridgewater.
Yeah.
And we know that the man that made that made blanket chests and other things, since we've seen that decoration on tables and blanket chests. But we don't know who it was, and that's probably worth $1,000. The cane, swordfish cane with the carved hands, came from an auction it came from a house in Shubenacadie. And we don't know, it wasn't a great old house. It was just an old place that had a lot of stuff in it, but nothing else of this caliber. And that's probably worth a couple $1,000 today. Let's see, is that it for this room? A few other small mats on the floor, but they're of no great consequence. Okay. This checkerboard here came from the Amaro home in the Middle East Publico. It was in the attic of that place, and that's probably worth $600. Yeah, a little more. Didn't have the crack. Okay, it's an office here, which has a laptop computer and a Macintosh. That's a Macintosh also. Another Macintosh here, and the printer, electric typewriter, and some various sort of antique tables that aren't of any particular great value. And we have this cupboard, which I think came from you, I believe, that I sold in an auction, and Jerry Ferguson bought it. Molding's been replaced on it. Does that strike any bells?
No.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, anyway. And that's worth about $800, I suppose. We have a drawing by Eugene Spiker over here, which is worth somewhere around probably $1,000 Canadian. Lucy Jarvis drawing down here, which would be worth probably $350, and this is by Peggy Nicole McLeod, well-known Canadian artist, and that'd be worth about $2,500. Two Carl Springhorn drawings that were in his first exhibition at the Hellman Galleries, and they have their original mats, which is quite nice, and they're probably worth about $750 for the pair of them. Lucy Jarvis color drawing up here, be worth about $400. A clam biggers, and drawing by John Cook, a couple $100 for that. Lucy Jarvis painting here, oil on canvas, $500. $200 for the Mabel Day drawing over there. This is a California woman sculptor who's dead now, Sybil Emerson. Just a nice drawing. Attractive. He's worth a couple $100. Another John Cook, probably $300 for that one. This is a big painting that we bought from Lucy Jarvis. That would be worth $1,000. Roger Contan, Quebec artist. We paid $550 for that a number of years ago, and it's probably what it's worth. Henri Masson down here, similar value to that, southwestern one. John Lyman, well-known Canadian artist, that's worth about $500. Another little springhorn drawing that came from Mabel Day's estate down in Yarmouth there, that's worth about $400. And over on this, to the left there, Judy, there's another Mabel Day drawing to the right. It's worth about $200, and the gouache painting is by her, and they're all from the estate, family estate over in Yarmouth, and it's probably worth $500.
This one here.
Yes, yeah. It's probably worth about $200, and a little collection of office stuff on top there that's worth $100 or so. Which just give you an idea of our collection of CDs, just fairly substantial. And
Wow.
our two paintings by David Milne, which are almost impossible to put a value on. They're worth as much as the house is worth, I guess. And this is, they were done in 1911 and were exhibited at the Pan American Exposition in San Francisco in 1915, and won the only medal that Milne ever won. Very important Canadian paintings. Little dry point etching by Milne there, which is worth about $1,000. And this cupboard came from over in Yarmouth County. I bought that from, I forget their name, grain painted. That's worth about, say, probably about $1,800. Really unusual item. And we have here just the reference books and a cupboard. The cupboard here would be worth about $1,200 probably.
Boy, it's hard to get in.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I mean, just to show that there is a cupboard here is about all that really matters. And the various other paintings and things you see here are sort of in the process of coming and going, so we won't make any specific reference to them other than the fact that they happen to be here today, and they all add up to some relative value, but they may not be here 6 months from now or whatever, so we're not going to be concerned about them. A whole bunch of my father's drawings here, and this painting there is worth about $2,500. So now, why don't you step back out the door there for a second and show the rug, and then there's also this piece of furniture here. There's a nice little County geometric mat. Little tiny bit of wear on the edge there. That's worth about probably $400, maybe more. This little piece of furniture here, just a nice piece of country furniture that's functioning here, sort of a washstand, and that's worth about $350, I suppose. So it does this room. It's okay. So we're here in the hallway, and this is. Did you ever own this little cupboard? No. Yeah, I bought that from Bob Getson for $60 years ago, 20 years ago. I guess it's round now, but it's such a beautiful cupboard, and I don't know what it's worth. $1,000, I guess. These 3 carvings were made by Clarence Jedry from Clyde River, and I suppose they were worth $1,000 for the 3 of them. We sold a couple at Ellen's auction. I don't remember what they brought, but they weren't as good. I kept these 3. I thought they were the best ones. And Terry Walker has one by him that he found. Didn't know who did it. He found it in a house down there, you know. This is by a guy named I wrote it on here, Ernie's Wicker. And this came from David Fraser, famous picker. That's worth what? $150. This is by Leo Morton. That came from one of the Morton families up in Watford there. And he had given it to the girl there. And this was, I found underneath the spruce tree on Leo Morton's property, this old baseball player over here.
Can you lift them up?
What?
Can you lift
No,
them
he's
up?
glued down
Oh,
there
he's
'cause he
glued
kept
down.
falling
Okay.
over. Yeah, but anyway, he's there. He's worth a couple hundred, and the bird's worth $100, I suppose. And there's this neat make-do sort of thing. Somebody, the story that, well, you tell the story about this, Earl, what she claimed.
Well, she claimed the gold come off the man's temple, and was it her husband put it in the case?
Mhm.
Her husband put it in the case.
And that sunk in 1912 or something like that?
Around there.
Yeah, around that period.
It's a tablecloth in there too with it, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a great story, and whether it's true or not, we'll never know, but it probably is true. I mean, why would
Yeah.
particularly where she said her husband, okay, that's really
I
interesting.
don't think she would like.
Yeah, so here we have some little children's plates. Hairline in that one, a hairline in this one. This one is in good shape. These things are really, I mean, these things are like $200 a piece at that East Side show in New York, all this little stuff. Particularly little mugs and everything, but I don't know, they're probably worth 150 for three of them, this in this market. A little pair of, we're talking to you guys about shoes, who bought these from you, and I think we didn't pay much for them. There might have even been like $1 a piece or something.
Yeah.
But they're not wooden, they're leather and wooden, but anything like that, if you get it now, I think we would be interested to. A collection of shoes from local homes. That's it. Yes. And the other few.
Yeah, let me go find her, G.
We'll start with this table. This came from, I bought this from Tony Sonia years ago, and I believe it came from Pictou County. It's all green painted on the top, and we sold one for Leslie Langell last summer that went for, I believe, $1,300, and I would say this is quite a bit better table than that one. This one's green painted and more graceful than the one that he had, so this is, I would say, worth a couple $1,000s. We have a set of 6 of these chairs that are matched, and then we have 3 odd ones, all by the same maker, and they were made in Annapolis County. We have the name of the maker. It's actually stenciled, or it's on one of the chairs, one of the single chairs. So that was helpful. This great boat. Let's see. So the chairs, it's hard to say. I would say they're worth $200 a piece, and this great big hooked rug we bought from Lloyd Sharple, so it would have come from Colchester County. And we have another smaller one, appears to be by the same maker upstairs, and I suppose this rug is worth $1,500. So this country sofa over here came from Crosstown, and I suppose it's worth maybe $2,500. Very unusual in its shape. The little high chair over here came from Bob Getson's shop, which obviously picked that up around locally somewhere. That's worth $450. And we just do this wall here. This is by anonymous Pictou County carver. The salmon, that's worth about $400. This little box that was made for Ellie came from here in Lindbergh County somewhere. Don't know exactly. And that's worth about $500. This cane was made by John Forbes, who lives in the asphalt section of Stellarton. And it has a snake and an eagle holding an egg here. And that's worth $1,000. This one's probably a Pictou County one also. I bought that from John Marshall. That's probably worth about $350. This fish was made by Carlton Dagley from, I think he lives in Liverpool or Milton. Right on the border there.
Yeah, it's right in the blue.
Yeah, right on the border. And the sort of Max, a crooked knife maker, he used to work in a fire tower. Made that, and it's, I think, like in 60 or something, made on the back. That's just a little shillelagh that I think maybe I got down in Cape Breton. It's only really hanging there because it's to balance off these other canes. Albeit it's not worth very much. But this one came from Antigonish County. And say it's worth about $500 all carved out of balls. This one belonged to Everett Zwicker, who was born over here at the next house. And this was his father's. This one's all inlaid with the little diamonds and stuff, and they're not worth the $150 or two of them. This game board came from this is made by an artist in Blockhouse. You don't know which artist it would be. Came from the house that Peter Young owns now. They wear, what's her name? Used to do all the pastel paintings. Fanny arts. Drown used to live in that.
Sounds right good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's worth $1,000, I suppose. I mean, I sold that bread and ended up buying it back from it. So.
So you didn't get a price on fish.
Oh, the fish. You didn't price the fish.
Yeah, the fish carving by Girlfriend Dagley, I suppose that's worth $500.
We have this little flour barrel over here. It's probably worth $100. And did you own that stand?
No.
Wasn't that interesting? Ducky must have gotten that too, Ben. Because we bought it from David, who said that it came from Lunenburg County, and I wouldn't doubt that it did to look at it, you know. But we only paid him $150 for it, but I think he way underpriced the value of it. It's not great, but I mean, it's worth more than that. It's grain painted and everything. Though I cleaned it up. He didn't bother to clean it. I'd say it's worth $300. And this table came from Elmwood up in here, up in single board top. It's probably worth $1,000 today. This crock down here came out of this house originally. I'm not absolutely sure where it was made. The handle's missing off the top of it. I bought it from Terry Ernst, who got it from Ward years ago. And it's probably worth $200. This little shelf here, one of these little guys was replaced by David Whitney. Did a good job, but came from Granville Ferry. It was in an auction in Halifax. I think it's worth $1,000, somewhere around there. This little box, it was a little Indian box, the Halifax newspaper in it. That would be worth $1,000. This was made by Colin Langell from. Oh, maybe so. Yeah, he lived. I think maybe at one time in Home Bay, but probably he moved around somewhat. And that was in the Spirit Show. That should be worth $450 probably. This little man in a coffin by Leo Morton. Says, "Not dead, try me."
Hold it down.
Probably worth about $600. This is just a nice early Japanese teapot here. It would certainly be worth $100. That'd be normal. And this is a nice crock we just bought from Gary Wenzel for $75. It came from that Charlie Ernst place up there. Yeah. Okay. As you can see, there is in the window here some various pieces of glass that don't have any great value, but they have some value. You know, there's certainly $100 worth of glass there, and this little thing probably for cooling pies is worth $50 down here, and there's another redware clock in there, probably worth $50. This is a Masonic lantern made probably in Germany, and I bought that in Maine, but I think it's worth probably $600. Made by one of the companies would have also made the toys, and it's an excellent. I think it was only ever used once. I think it had the original candle in it, still in it, perhaps. This little stand here, we're not sure where these were made. We have 3 of them, I believe. Or have seen 3 of them. No, we have 2. And I'm not sure. They may be Lunenburg County or they may not be. I think somebody had to find another one. Does that look familiar to you?
No.
No. So I'm not sure. David has a similar piece that supposedly came from Pauline Oikels years ago, but it's not. I don't think it's the same maker. Though there's no doubt that this one is the same maker that made this one over here.
And the price on this one?
This is the better one by far, value-wise. I'd say that one's probably worth $450, and this one here is probably worth like $750. We bought that from Jerry Biddo. I think we paid $600 for it quite a long time ago. So back over to here, this little shelf I bought from Murray Stewart when he lived over in Martin's River, and I don't know where he got it, but it certainly looks like a Lunenburg County piece, and I suspect that he did get it locally. It's round nailed, and see all the cutouts on the end of it there too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I suppose it's worth the $500, maybe more. This little whetstone.
Remember where that came from?
Seems to come from Indian Point. I'm not real sure.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what you told me at the time. It's paid you $150 for that. These little barrels all came around locally. That's one came from Blandford, I remember. And Housefield and I were in that day. This one, I think we have a maker's name. This came from Dougie, I believe, all inlaid. That one's probably worth $300, and this $200, and this one. Shouldn't know where I got that. It's the old pinwheel on the bottom. They're all Lunenburg County anyway. One of these came from Terry Ernst's. And it's probably worth 100, and these are worth maybe 100 each. This little carving was came from Pictou County and was in the Spur of Nova Scotia show, documented with the name of the maker. On the back with it there. Al Hamilton, what one this is. River John, yeah. And that's worth probably $1,500. These are all little mocha pieces that all have a little damage, I think. And they're worth probably $150 for 4 of them. And that's this little shot holder that I bought from Murray Oipo years ago, which only came from Lunenburg County or here in the South Shore. This carving here was made by Zenas Innes Dulong. He was an Indian, or largely Indian, who lives in Greenwood over in Yarmouth County. That's probably worth $250. Bought that from Tease at $17.
In your cover?
Yeah, in the cupboard over here, we just run along the top. These are all very early English bowls. There are 5 of them in a pitcher. And they're in various shapes of condition, but they're definitely all quite desirable. And I would say that they're probably worth, the average being worth $150 to $250 a piece. They're some are 18th century and others are early 19th century. This bowl came from upper Cornwall, an old farmhouse up there. I bought that probably 18 years ago. Had it all that time. I think it's probably worth $700 or $800. About as good as they get. These are all very early pieces of American glass. This one I got from Carl Conrad, who got it in New Elm. And it's not 18th, it's probably 18th century, and that's probably worth for about $600. I think never that. You may see some other ones. It's got a tulip on it. This one came from Jimmy and Weldon, and they would have picked that up someplace around the valley, I suppose. And feel the weight of that. It's just phenomenal to realize it. So beautiful to feel the weight of it. Yeah. And this one is Semper, probably worth about $300, I suppose. The other one's this one I bought from out of Julia Fillmore's put a junk shop. I don't think she realized it was as good as it is. I don't know much about the value of it, but I would be surprised if it wasn't worth at least $200. And this one I bought from one of those stores that sells used magazines over in St. John. And this one's got a polished panel area there on the bottom of it, but all old wave to it. And that's probably worth $300 or $400. I paid $25 for it. Nice little dome. Again, very, very early.
It was $75. Now we have about 5 very early pieces of English pottery here, all having some aggravation. This one has a make-do repair, damages to those, and this one is all there except his hand came off before it was fired. This one came out of an old house outside of Sydney, in Cape Breton. This one came from lady in Mahone Bay, and that one came from Paul Kellaway, and those came from Fred's auction. And they're probably worth, on the average, $150 a piece in that condition. This teapot's got a man to the top of it, but it's very early, circa 1800, about the fare to this house. And that'd be worth about $200. Sugar bowl, I paid $60 for it from St. Spain, but it's still nice. It was shipped there. They're probably worth about $75. And we have 6 of these plates, one of which has a fairly severe crack. We just the other day bought one from Folly Oil, but it was in good condition for $175, which was sort of a top price, but we bought it because it helped sort of fill out the sack here. And the other one had a little hairline with 100. So that gives a rough idea what they're worth. This is a nice piece. The top is not the original one, but it's from the same set. That's very early, 1790 probably. That'd be worth 100. Coming across these plates came from New Elm, or Elmwood, an old house up there. I was in years ago, ones and back, and they're worth probably $150 a piece. And this is it's all gaudy well. It's this little group of things across the bottom here that some are better than others. That little mug is probably worth $75. This one $50, but some of the others are a little rougher. Sugar bowl as well. A lot of them looks like it's in good shape. Probably worth 100.
That one's in good shape. That'd be up 100. I mean, this one's damaged. That one's damaged and that one's damaged. This one has a chip, so they're probably worth 200 for the 3 of them or whatever.
Then we had this great powder horn that came from Mahone Bay, and Fred suggested that it may have been actually brought by one of the early settlers. It may have been made, and I'm inclined to agree with that, made in the old country. That's one of the real treasures we have. That's probably worth a couple $1,000, particularly for that history. It came from Mahone Bay. We have 3 butter prints. This one I bought from Pauline. That's really cool. This one came from David Fraser, similar. And this one I bought for Pauline just the other day. And this one here, Buggy had that. Did we get that from you or from Buggy?
We bought it from Dungeons.
That's right, yeah. I think I paid $375 for that or something like that. Yeah, it's got an initial on the back. And that was quite a long time ago. So I'd say the 4 of these are probably worth a lot of that call $100. This one came from New Cornwall, so I reason we bought it. And we have some more of these little plates here. This one's got a fairly bad crack. The other 2 are good. And I'd say the 3 of those are probably worth maybe $200. And this set of plates down here, I don't remember where you got this, Eve.
Didn't come from Pulpitoon.
I did they? Yeah. Yeah. So they're probably worth $500 maybe for. So this wonderful flow blue plate I bought from the Moores, Gordon Moore up there in Kentville years ago. I suppose that's. No, this really dark flow blue is very valuable. You know, if you see it, the real dark stuff, I saw it down in Brookfield like $800, $1,200 for a piece of it. So that's the stuff that, you know, if you see one in a house, you want to try to get. Deep blue.
We had a set last year. Yeah, plates and cups of sauces was it?
So whole set.
We sold Joan Gillis.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Well, David was there the same time we sold to her, and he wanted it.
This box came from a man, his last name was Gates. I bought this from Carmen. I had been at the house, but unfortunately I went with Ellen, and he wouldn't let us in because there was a woman with me, you know, because the house was such a mess, I guess. But right in Birchtown, it was an early Cape Cod house just off the right, and the house, I think, has been so renovated now you wouldn't recognize it. But that's one of the real South Shore treasure stars on the end. It's probably dramatic. You know, my guess is it could have, like, did you find it a little, you know, I think it's out of the sort of Lunenburg County Germanic tradition, even though it did come from down in Shelburne County. The man's name was Gates, and which is one of the names from the early settlers here, and that's worth $1,500, whatever, maybe more, probably more than auction. There's a little salt glazed piece that's, I think, a make do repair, yeah, around the bottom here. What kind of funds worth 100, and other little assorted odds and ends here. Another make do bowl, and another make do piece here. This one came from Newfoundland, and I bought that from Curry for $75. I talked him into selling it to me. What sale? So it's probably worth 100 a quarter.
Did you say Terry you got that from?
Terry Walker, yeah. And this little garnet jug's missing its handle, but it's awfully beautiful. That came from Leslie's house here in Blockhouse, but don't tell him. Probably worth $75 in that turkey. This wall box over here, I bought from Carl Conrad. It says spoons, knives, and forks, and a little decoration along here, and I suppose that's worth $1,000. This little it's a little watch hutch. Came from Erming Cohen's estate, and I would assume that he bought that locally. We'll never know for sure. It's trying to figure out what the wood is, whether it's mahogany or birch. I don't know. Anyway, it's very early, I would say. Worth probably $450. So little miniature glasses along here, probably worth 100 for that lot. And for the Spiles plate up here, it'd be worth $50. This little basket, we bought from Earl Judy for 20, I think. There, right. Ooh, this came from, this little Micmac thing came from just up the road up here in upper Cornwall. I've always kind of liked it.
The value?
$75, thank you. Over here, we have this painting by George Bellows that's hanging in the house right now, which is very, very valuable item. I don't know how long it'll be here. It'll probably not be here indefinitely. When we're talking, you got this stand already over here. This stool came from Ozam Dean's house down over the hill here. I think that's worth maybe $300. Exceptional thing.
Well, Starlight.
A friend wanted to buy it too. And this is a carving by Walter Cook from Sherbrooke, who's dead now. Made of a spruce and all. I think that's worth $1,000. And we have this wall box here. Came from Blockhouse. Quite nice. Came from David Crazer. And got this round nail, but it's really very nice. It says it's worth about $300. This fireplace peel I bought from Jerry Vittadone. Must have gotten it up in the valley somewhere. It has a snake's head with eyes in it here. I think that's worth $300. Other old plate here, only worth $35. And we have a collection of make-do length or a make-do thread holder up there. And I guess you could say this is a make-do also, because that's a whale oil lamp that probably got broken, I suppose. It'd be interesting to take it apart and find out. But this one's probably worth $350, and this one $75, and these are 100 a piece, something like that. And we have a collection of odd brass candlesticks. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They'd be worth $500 maybe. Another cooking knife for the flax in the other room. Nice little wisp broom, $50 for that. A couple little folk art carvings here, 100 for the two of them. And great pair of gooseneck andirons came from Central New York State. I believe the last check I bounced on somebody was the guy that I bought these from. He says the only bounce check he ever got. Those are worth about $500. And this little iron trivet came from an old man over in Bridgewater.
What's interesting, signs of the Mitchell said, well, no set before, or a number. That's worth $300. Might be ugly. It could have been made here over. No, very early. I'm sure you know who that guy was, but I think it's me. He had a sister who lived on this side of the river. On those, you know, where all those houses, 4 or 5 of them in a row down by where the Salvation Army was. This one came from Cape Breton. $150 for that. This came from New Bern. I think this one's signed too. Nice fireplace. Yeah. Stamped signature there. $100 for that. The Keo came from Pauline Oiko, and she couldn't remember exactly where it came from, but someplace around Lutherburg County here. 200 for that. This candle box came from Walden. That's all carved along the top here. And nice old green paint. Probably $800 for that. Little jug there, and there's some other odd fireplace utensils here. Oh, some value, but not anything spectacular. More over there. Big iron pot here. Be worth $100, I suppose. This last look mirror was I have the guy's name in Northwest. Oh no, it's all. Support Begin thing. Or was that her name? Anyway, it was by a Begin. And that's been in quite a few books. Do you know there's a flashlight in the door? Well, I guess, what's that worth? $1,000?
There's that with the flashlight?
Yeah, with a black. No, that's the no discharge. You know, if you get any things like this little brass hook over here, so that's real nice, really thing. I'd probably pay like $3 for something like. If you have anything like that around, just any real early things like that. And this came from Earl.
So like Earl Swinker.
What's that? Knew it was?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Trust the basin.
Yeah. Okay, we have that written down somewhere. $1,000 for that. And over where Charlotte is, there are a few things. This table is quite a good table. Two-board, I think it's a two-board top, but it's a breadboard. And that came from Leslie Langell to Bob O'Neill, who had it on his truck and sold it to me years ago. I guess that's worth $500. Little thing on top with drawers in it's worth probably $150. This little magazine rack maybe $100. This chair is a Guysborough County chair. Monty knows the name of the family of makers. It's a Weaver's chair or something like that. Say that's worth about $350. We should get that information from him. And over in the window here, some nice early pieces of glass. All of this here is probably $250 worth of glass in that window. And here's this clock. It's interesting that Laurie Charlton couldn't find this maker in his book, which indicates it might be a fairly scarce maker, but we have $350 in this book as of today. This little stitchery is by Eugene Saboyer from Martin's River, and that's worth a couple $100. This little collection of glass. Take note, you guys see any of this? We're collecting it. I don't think it's worth probably that much. $5 a piece or something, but the Nero's collection. Sells $50 worth of glass there. This is a real good carving by Harry Weil. Came from the Roadies. And I think that's probably worth $350. We might give that to the Desposay. And then these little pieces of glass here, all real nice early pieces. They would be, this one's cracked. Still probably worth 100 plus 3. And I think that's it for this room. $200 rug here, and there's a wood box. And this thing here is worth a couple $100. This came in wick. Little pine storage thing. It's a refinish. And, you know, it's a nice basket here. That'll be worth $75. Wood box. probably $75. And a few hats. Oh, this is a nice piece of textile that came from Gary. That should be worth $150. It goes full length to the back of the door here. I think it's actually on backwards, but okay, up we go. A lot of little little animals and stuff and little pieces of pottery there. It's very hard to say how much a lot of this stuff is worth. That little sofa worth $100, and this little guy here, a little miniature teddy bear, should be worth $100. And a few of these things aren't too bad, but most of them are damaged. I think probably if you said $300 for everything else, we wouldn't be too far out of bounds. This nice little cupboard came from Oakland down in the Mahone Bay area there. And little corner post and everything's probably worth $400. A couple nice old hats here, $50 a piece. This came from the house right down over the hill that Bill has now. And you can see all the carving on the back of it. It's been in a number of exhibitions. Little tape loom. And that's probably worth about $750. Little family record up here in a frame. That's a marriage of the two. The frame came from the LaHave Islands. Came from the Rodenizers. And the family record is a Bachman one. And I would say that's worth $1,000. This little bench came from Clearland, or Mahone Bay, I guess probably between Clearland and Mahone Bay. This chair came from, I bought it in a house up in Parkdale, but my guess is it came from further down in the county earlier on. It was quite an early chair. Seat was done by Newell McQueenie, who was an Indian in Pleasant River. And that would be worth, this chair probably $850. This is about $150. This rug, well, no, we're going to do this side over here. This is a family record that's on the cover of the Record of Time catalog that the Art Gallery Nova Scotia did. It's illustrated in color. And I think as a result of that, it's probably worth $1,000. This is the same maker. They came from the Northfield. I bought this out of a house up in Northfield years ago. And this is by the same maker. This came from Leslie. He said he got his up in that area too. And it's only worth, it's got some little silverfish holes, only worth a couple, about $250. It's just a nice little decorated frame with a Currier knives thing in it, $150 for that. And Judy, this rug right behind you is the one that was hooked by the lady that used to live in this house
Okay.
in 1888.
Okay, you say the woman in the
Her
house.
name was Mrs. James Hughes, and she lived in this house that was made for this Allenbeck.
Oh, yeah. But there it is. I mean,
It does have a little repair somewhere, but nothing very significant. And that's probably worth a couple $1,000, I would think. You know, not too much doubt. One of the better Lunenburg County mats. Okay. And then there's nothing else here in the hallway of any consequence, really. There's a stained hooked rug and a little watercolor that appears to have been a pattern for a Mac. And I don't think we need the light for anything else here. Judy, just keep that running. I'll open the door into Charlotte's room and you could just walk in and kind of zoom around. Get some idea of the fact that there is a lot of stuff here. And there's stuff in cupboards also. There's undoubtedly a lot more in value in this room than it would appear on the surface because there's a lot of jewelry and, you know, you just see tons of jewelry and stuff over there. Who knows? I mean, there could be, I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't $5,000 worth of stuff in this room. But it's very hard. With the furniture, I mean, this is, yeah, probably more. Even with a piece of furniture, some fairly decent ones here. So all this stuff over here.
what's up on the window?
Oh, those are just little dolls and
Okay.
All that kind of stuff.
It's a lot.
nice auction.
a planter here that came from Dougie C. And that's probably worth about $600, I would think. And there's a little drawing rack over there, should be worth $150. Jack Humphrey's watercolor, we paid close to $2,500 for it with a frame. And so pastel by my friend David Little over there, it's worth about $350. And a couple mats here, $150 for that one, and this one we paid $25 for. So the other things that are in here is a drawing by Rockwell Kent that's worth about $1,000 on this wall. And I think that mirror's worth a couple hundred. It's such a nice old frame. And that shelf, where did that shelf come from? Down in Indian Harbor. Yeah, Indian Harbor. It's a few repairs to it, but it's still a neat thing. And there are 6 of our 7 small Eisenhower carvings in there. I would say that the 2 on the lower shelf, the one on the far right, is probably worth about $1,200. Guy on horseback's worth about $1,000. And because we paid $900 for the one of the man in the canoe from the Houston Rock Gallery last summer. And the woman standing there would probably be about $1,000. And then on the top shelf, the self-portrait probably is worth $2,000. And I would say the same for the woman dancing with the dog based on current prices. And then there's one over here. I'll just take it. Well, okay. Yeah, I'll just hold it there. And this one, his bow is missing. I should replace that bow. I think some little kid took it once. But anyway, that's worth a couple $1,000 too. And I don't think there's anything else in here. A few pieces of pottery there. They're not too bad. This nice little shelf, you might just swing around, catch that, and this pottery stuff here. That shelf's worth $100. And probably all the pottery in this room and would be worth $250, something like that. Okay, say this came from. There's a road. There's a road as you go up on this side of the river, around Pinehurst there somewhere. There's a road that goes off the right. I think it's called Rodenizer Road, isn't it?
Yeah, this right.
Yeah, I think this came off of that road. I bought this from Dougie. I guess that's worth $1,000, maybe more, $1,500. It's hard to say. There's a nice big mat over here with a heart in it. If you just get a little piece of it, it'll show. Should be worth what? $350 probably. That came from David Fraden out of Lunenburg County. That little table's a little Lunenburg County stand. $250 for that. We could put a nice candle stand in there, Earl. Yeah. You guys find one. That little bookcase came from Lunenburg. Or is that the one? No, that's not the one. I don't remember anything, but that's nothing very special about that or the box that's on it. They're worth, the little chair's probably $50 and the bookcase $100 and the little box $75 or something. And the sewing thing over there maybe $75 and whatever. The lamps, of course, there are various lamps in the house. We haven't much comment on them. They're worth $100 a piece. There's jug lamps. This is a little painting we actually bought from you. Turns out to be by a fairly well-known Canadian descendant to his wife to be from Paris. Yeah, I'm sure you don't remember. It's just on a postcard, but it's worth probably $400. All these Rockwell Kent drawings, there are 28 of them, and they should be individually probably valued. Though we paid $1,000 US for several, and this one with 4 in it, we paid probably $2,000 for that one. So as they go around, they would average $500 to $1,000 a piece.
I'm gonna go around.
And they're all, yeah. That's good. You can just do that wall, and we'll catch the ones on the other wall when you back around. I don't really get much of this frame here in the window. It's got Masonic emblems on it. Yeah, maybe we went up and tried to get a detailed piece of it. That came from, I think, Guysborough County.
Okay.
I got that. And that's probably worth about $500. And there's do you remember where you got this
decorated box. I know that came from Northfield, the blanket chest.
He had a box did too.
Yeah,
I've seen his.
yeah. That's the decoration similar to what's on that planter.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, so we have this Queen Anne blanket chest that came from Northfield. Probably can't see it real well against the light, but we paid, was it $1,500? I think $1,800 for that. And the little box there, $600 or $700. Two Lunenburg County ladderback chairs. That one on the right came from New Bern, and the one on the left here came from you guys, I think. So there's no seat there. It's worth $100, and this one's probably worth $150, maybe $200. That recognize that?
We had him something like that.
Yeah, I think you had that one.
He had rockets like that too.
Yeah, this little table here I got from Carmen. I think you got that down in Shelburne County. It's got a little gallery that runs all around. It's probably worth $600. $100 for the basket there. This is a Pictou County chair missing an arm, and it's probably worth $100 very early, worth $150. The collection of stuffed animals in there. The monkeys really very, very early and quite desirable. They're probably worth $300 for all that stuff there. And why don't you just flash these are all Rockwell Kents from Alaska and Newfoundland, including one way over in the corner there. Okay. Now, back over here. Look at this little table that came from my home bag with decoration on the top. That's probably worth $1,000. Lunenburg County rug. It came from over in, I believe, around Northfield somewhere. And this little bookcase came.
Price on the rug?
$250. The bookcase, that's a nice thing. You know, if you ever get a chance to buy something like that, we would be real good customers for it. A little square nail bookcase with some decent color on it, a little cut. I think it had a splashboard originally, but that came from Homer's Wicker's house down there. That's a Kent drawing on something on top of it too. The bookcase probably $350 for that. And there's some little baskets and odds and ends of things here. The bed is a main decorated bed. It's been pieced up, and it's probably worth $500 today. This blanket's the woven coverlet, came from the Rodenizes, $150. This box is a Lunenburg County box. There are at least 3 known. Leslie has one that's kind of decorated. It's a little nicer than this one, but I suppose that's worth $1,000, maybe more. This blanket box came from Terry Ernst's house down over the hill. We'll say $1,000 for that. Little mat with hearts is the Lunenburg County one. This one is here. I suppose they're worth $200 a piece. And this chest of drawers came from Kraustown. Yeah, Kraustown.
Stewart House.
Stewart House. Well, that's good to know. Yeah. And that's one of the great Lunenburg County masterpieces. It's all original except the 2 brasses on the medium-sized drawers, which were definitely like what's on it, because you could see the remains of the back piece, and these are 2 matched ones, so they're probably very, very close to what was on it originally. I was lucky to have them. And I don't know what to say. I think that is worth at least $5,000. It'd be worth more. I mean, if it came up and I had to bid against somebody to get it and didn't have it, who knows where I would have stopped. So, and that's a very good. Where did the shoe?
It comes from the 2 bars auction in Bridgewater. It come out of West Dublin.
West Dublin. Well, that's really good to know. It's got little carved feet, little drying rack, and I guess that's worth $600, $700, something like that. Little box down there missing its lid, $75. And are you missing anything? Don't think of any consequence. There are books and videos over there, you know, on the television set, VCR. Oh yeah, this is fairly important. This is another good, very good $100 stuff. Now, this is Charlotte's collection of perfume bottles. Why don't you come over and just do the best you can to show it. And bear in mind that she does collect them. Look at that little beauty. I bought that to Show and Bangor last year for $30. All etched, you know. And this one, isn't this a sweetheart? A little elephant. This is a nice early one with a chip on the top of it. New York.
Okay, just wait a minute. Hold it still. You go too fast. Okay.
For the dog. And this is, I don't know if this is perfume or liquor, but it's similar. This is just we've had a million of those, so it's like a little dolls there.
Yeah, never seen
Then inside here, you can see there are a few more. It's a pretty substantial collection. Some of them are really, really worth a fair amount of money. It's a bird. This one is very early. That's a New England. It's like made like the Flass, you know, very similar to the Flass. That one, if it's in good shape, is probably worth $150. And there are lots of these type. And I think that these long ones like this are fairly good. I don't think they're worth a fortune, but that could be even 18th century. Bobby had one that we wanted to buy, but we didn't get it, and God knows what happened to it. So anyway, I mean, who knows what that collection is worth, but I think you could say it's worth $1,000, and that might even be low. It's a cane. It's the Charlotte Allison McGill perfume bottle collection. That's it. Here.
Pantry.
Pantry. Right there. Well, actually, you know, this was not a pantry. This was a bedroom.
Oh, okay.
And I was looking at the floor plan for these houses, and there was always off of the two big rooms, there were little bedrooms.
Yeah.
So this was
okay.
Okay, in this room we have this cupboard, which came from what's that community when you go up to Maitland Bridge, and it's off to the left. Just a road that kind of goes in and comes around.
Oh, going right there by the restaurant.
Yeah, it's somewhere around. It's above Kedgy.
Yeah.
That
Not Harmony.
No, but you're on the right track anyway. We came from up in there, and it's interesting that Marcia had one made by the same person, so it came here locally somewhere around the county. Maybe Dougie got it, but it's sort of on the outer edges, just beyond Lunenburg County, I think. But that's probably worth what, $500 today, I suppose. This little box came from the South Shore. That's all we know, and I assume Lunenburg County. Maybe it came from Pauline's years ago. It's probably worth $350. Various crocks along here. This cupboard has some decent but not overly valuable stuff. I think you could say the entire contents of this cupboard would probably be worth about $400, give or take. Nice tins on the top here, probably $125 for the two of them, and that's got a chip, but it's a very nice crock. $50 for that. Nice square-nailed wall box from Tatamagouche. I believe that's where that came from in original paint. That should be worth $500. $1,000 fork here. $20 fork. This cupboard here, one of these is replaced. Or two of them, these two, I guess. But that I got someplace here in Lunenburg County years ago. It's overpainted, but it's got nice old color on the inside. And it's attached to the house, but nevertheless, it's still probably worth, what, $400 today, maybe something like that. Granite there, $75, $50.
Look at our collection of 10, count them, 10 corn cob mugs.
Yeah, well, they should be worth $100 anyway. There's some nice early pieces of glass here for storage. Couple $100 worth of glassware there. This work of art by an artist from Cincinnati. His name is slipping him at the moment. But anyway, it's worth $500, I suppose. This tray came from the Cornwall up here, one of the Cornwalls, and that's worth $100. Little pig cutting board, $50. Some different kitchen utensils around. There are probably a lot of them that aren't particularly showing, but there must be $300 worth of those. And swing around in this direction, I guess. Again, sort of shelf here, and with some old stuff in it, you know, probably $200 worth of stuff there. This little pig box. Remember where that came from?
Kingsburg.
Kingsburg.
Wrong
In
house.
this house. Yeah. No. Thanks.
Used to do it.
Yeah, that's, I don't know, $500, I guess, for that box. A little sieve at the top, 100. And
Forget where the boss went before I got back here.
yeah, I know. Went to pound it. One of Fred's auctions. We sold at that big auction you and I did. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Went till 9 o'clock at night. Like, and just odd kitchen stuff over here. A couple $100 worth again. All this, I think. Crocs and a nice little table, Mahone Bay green painted table with a piece of linoleum nailed to the top. That's $150 for that. $300 flower barrel here. $50 to the This cupboard's Quebec cupboard, and it's round nail, but my guess is it's worth a couple $1,000 today anyway.
Enough people wanted it.
Yeah, everybody wanted it, including the rats. See what the rats ate it there. And some very good tins. These ones on the top, before you leave, just check those. They're apparently really desirable. These choice teas that have the merchant's name on them. If you get any more of those, we would be, you know, have to save it for us. We'll give you a little more money than you'd probably price it in the shop. Then over in this corner, there's again more pieces of quite a bit of stuff on top there. A piece of pottery, probably a couple $100 worth of stuff up there. And the same over in there. I mean, there's some old jars and stuff and pottery, a couple $100 there on the shelves, probably worth $200 and $100 for that bench down there, and a couple $100 for the main granite ware. So,
Oh, big for the 11th house.
it is a stool, $50 for that stool. Corning at Rodenizer's antique shop, but $50 once it gets to our house.
What happened to them?